So we're talking about the generation of the Mabul, and we said that it's an indication for a passage from Olam Churban, to word of destruction, to Olam Tikun. And after the Mabul and the Migdal Bavel, the purpose of the world has changed, and the whole purpose now is to fix whatever damage was done during those time. So when we know from Baal HaSulam that brings on the Zohar, that all the stories of the Torah indicate to us one way or another on something has to do with the 10 Sferot that we have. And we're talking about a structure of 3. Usually when we talk about structure of 3, and there are many times that we have structures of 3, right? We're also talking about the 3 kavim, the three lines of let's say 3 branches or 3 highways, or where the light, the spiritual light, actually comes and spreads to the world. Those 3 channels of light, and which is Yamin, right, small, left, and center. In other words, if we're going to use those Kabbalistic terms, it's going to be Chesed, Gvura, V'Tiferet. Chesed, Gvura, V'Tiferet. Okay? Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. And so on and so forth. So therefore, the 3 sons of Noach, Shem is the right side, Cham is the left side, and Yefet, which is Yefet Mishum Meyapeh, it covers it up, it balances up between this one and this one, is the middle path. Therefore, before that, the lines were Kain veHevel. There was only Kain veHevel. There was not, and it was really the existence of the world was dependent on the balance, which one is going to overcome, right, left, all the time. And now we know, because Cain thought that, if we could understand why Cain killed Hevel according to the Kabbalah, because Hevel was trying to mix up the attributes of and that's why the issues of shatnez and so on and so forth. And that's why Cain said, listen, the world cannot do that. It has to be separated. And therefore he killed him. And by the way, this is why HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives Cain a special badge, that he won't be killed by the animals, because he was like Chayav Mitah. So he gave him a special badge because he understood what's going on. So in the first, and that was, we're talking about the first 10 generations. That's what happened. It was left, right, din chesed, all this thing. Noach, when Noach comes out and he creates a new foundation and a new infrastructure for the new world, which is the world of the center line. What we call it Kav Emtzai, the center line, which is the power that negotiates and makes so-called peace between right and left. And we always say, we said also, Shlosha Dvarim ha'olam omed, right? Al Torah, al Avodah, Val Gemilut Chasadim, and so on. You can go anytime you see 3. And now I'm sure that all you're going to think about all day long is like different 3s, and you understand like how he makes so much. But that's exactly what it is. Shlosha Dvarim ha'olam omed, Istakel b'Shlosha Dvarim v'dav, and we can go on and on and on. Now, there is a remes for that in the word Mabul. The word Mabul, if you take the Gematria of Mabul, I know that you guys love Gematrias, and you know that I don't like Gematria, but you like Gematria. The Gematria of Mabul is 78. Wow, you're quick. The Gematria of Mabul is 78. In other words, it's what we call 3 Havayot.
26 times 3.
Right? So, and this is, if you take the name of Hashem 26 and you make it times 3, that's going to be 78. So the generation of the Mabul, by their sins and what they did, again, we explained yesterday that the sin, chet mishum leachti, to miss the target, to miss the point, to miss the whole point of what creation was all about. So because of that, they destroyed the infrastructure of the world. And you know that if you have like a very bad enemy, what you do when you retreat, you make sure that there's no infrastructure. Or if you really want to make your enemy suffer, you don't just kill them because they're going to multiply again. What you do, you kill their infrastructure. So they destroyed the infrastructure of the world. And the world without proper infrastructure is gone. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu made Adam HaRishon, made man, actually gave humankind the permission to control the world, because man in his intellect could be able to negotiate and kind of see things and oversee things to make sure the infrastructure stays, not to destroy it. Whatever abilities you have to do bad, you have the same abilities to do good. That depends on how you use it. Depends on how you use it. And don't forget that without bad, there's not going to be good. That's why bad had to be created. That's the beauty of the free choice that we have. Because if HaKadosh Baruch Hu would have taken our ability to do bad and to do only good, there would be no free choice. Therefore we'll be just like animals, and we cannot rule on the world without the ability to make decisions all the time. It's almost like a computer program. You know, those little flow charts that we did. If you do this, this, and if you do this, is that. We should be able to see that. However, we took this freedom that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us and we destroyed it. Right? Talking about history is almost like what Mark Antony did to Julius Caesar. You know, he gave him the go fix up Rome, and he just drunk himself to death. You know, and together with it, you know, he did to Rome the same thing. Just an example of things. You know, I give you an opportunity, I give you an ability, and look what you do with it. You know, and that's what we also get very frustrated with presidents and so on and so forth. We give an opportunity to rule. We hope we know how to do it, and then they mess it up. They bring their own personal agendas and not looking for the better of the klal, of the general. That's one of the problems. So Noach comes to the place here and creates a new world with new neshamot. He brings new neshamot to the world, and which is, by doing so, he creates a world that's going to be created also, or be dependent on three lines, not only two lines, not only on din and chesed, also on tiferet, which is in the middle. Again, we were talking about good and bad and bad and good, but you should know that in the eyes of those who are able to see, and you know, we have eyes, but we don't always see, even a total destruction, or even cases of total destruction, it's still an opportunity to come in and to build something from you. And the total destruction comes as a reason to bring up about greater light. If you look, for example, let's say a destruction of that we had, let's say 1492, when the Jews were expelled from Spain and then later on from Portugal. There's tremendous light, because the light of the Torah, of the Chachamim of Spain, basically spread up all over the world, and Torah really flourished. And look how many Achronim are towards how many Rishonim, and it was because of that destruction. And then, I mean, I don't know the reasons why. Don't ask me over from the great destruction of the Shoah, of the Holocaust. We had the great light in potential, but we did something else, of having a final state or a chance to go back to our land to actually live there. We have the potential, you know. So every great destruction brings about a great chance to reveal great light. And that's the order that it has to be. That's the order it has to be. And we need to understand why that. And remember, we spoke about it a few weeks ago about the relationship between the light and the vessels and so on and so forth. In order to have great light, you have to have great destruction. There's no way around. Well, there is a way around it, but really there's no way really around it. It says in the Gemara in Masechet Terumot, "Birtzot Hashem darkei ish, gam oivav yeshlim ito." When HaKadosh Baruch Hu finally looks at your ways and he approves of that, Gam oivav yashlim ito. Even the enemies will make peace with it. In other words, they're not going to be. There are people who they say right out, I don't believe in God. You know, I can tell you though for a fact, there are very few people who really don't believe in God. Most people do believe, but they say they don't believe. In other words, a person who only deals with hashpa'ah, with influencing and so on and so forth, what we call, let's say, the tzaddik, you know, without calling, you know, so therefore everything that is in the world is going to be there to help him. Everything in the world serves to help him because he's the one who is mashpia. He's the one who is actually becomes the vessel, the vehicle to bring the abundance to this world, to make this world better. So therefore it does not make sense that things will not work for him. So therefore everything works for him. Everything in the world comes to help him. And not necessarily always in terms that we see it or where we translate it, but because you don't know the scheme of things. We only see things from a very limited perspective. You know, you got to look at things above time, beyond our dimensions. But the whole entire creation is really coming in and tying itself to help him to basically make a better hashpa'ah in this world.
Including other people as well?
Including everybody.
And they don't even know why.
They don't even know why. They're part of it. Everything, you know, even I don't know, rocks. I mean, everything. Everything in creation. You know, we don't know how let's say the celestial arrangement actually has hashpa'ah on us. Not in talking in terms of astrology, in terms of, you know, there's an asteroid that came in, but however, you know, just kind of glazed by. We don't know those things. We can't see. We are so limited. But you should know that everything in the universe and basically the whole entire creation comes to your aid, and that could explain. I mean, now you might understand better the concept of Abali Taher Mesayim Beyado. He wants to purify himself. You know, gets a special support from the heavens. I mean, you want to have siyata deshemaya. You want to see, you know, an open miracle. Start purifying yourself. And I'm telling you, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. It's, people, why are there no miracles? There are no miracles? I don't know what you're talking about. There are miracles. There are miracles all the time. You see it, I mean, with your eyes open. How many times we're talking about people that, you know, didn't have a job, didn't have this, they came to Yeshiva, want to learn, boom, 2 weeks later they have a job. You become a kli mashpia. You're coming to learn. Now you're learning. Now you're talking to your wife. You're talking to your family. You're creating. You're bringing better. You're making this world better. So therefore, you know, it doesn't make sense for creation not to help you. So that's what it is. I mean, it's, you know, that's what it is. We need, and that's something that we need to learn from Noach, and of course later on to learn from Avraham. That's why they're both together in the same parasha, is how to be mashpia on everybody. How to, I would say, imitates God's action in terms of Mahu tov u'meitiv gam ata tiyeh tov u'meitiv. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is good, you should be good also. HaKadosh Baruch Hu rachum gam ata rachum. You know, basically to implement His qualities that it's revealed to us, to our world. And I'm sure Kadosh Baruch Hu has many, many, many more qualities, but to us it's not really nogea, you know, it's not shayach to us, it's not applicable to us, because whatever is applicable to this world, He gave us the tools to run with. And it's really none of my concern what other attributes God has, you know. Even if He'll tell me, I won't be able to relate to it, because it's not shayach to this world. And believe me that when He told us, there's plenty for us to work. Plenty of us to work, and what this is basically one of the things that they say about soda dveku, to attach yourself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. What am I going to do? Attach myself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with a crazy glue? In other words, by imitating His good qualities, I'm creating a point of interaction. I'm becoming closer to Him. I'm attaching myself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu by imitating His actions. And after the Mabul, it says Vayishayer ach Noach, and Vayishayer ach Noach. Only Noach. You know, the word ach always comes to separate, right? So Rashi explains גונח וכהה דם מתוך הבהמות והחיות. You know, the word ach is like, you know, somebody hits you, ach, right? Vayishaer ach Noach. So Rashi explains us that Noach worked so hard, he was basically spitting blood from taking care, maybe I didn't say much, but from really taking lung cancer, but from taking care of animals. When we killed men, I was spitting blood, right, from taking care of the animals. He really, he put himself all through it, all into this job. Noach really was memayet himself. He made himself shrink. He wasn't, Noach, I'm a tzaddik, I don't do that stuff. He did what needs to be done. He was memayet from his blood, from his flesh, and so on and so forth. He had tremendous mesirut nefesh for all those he gave responsibility over. And this is all to do with Tzon Hashem. To do Ritzon Hashem. In other words, when you want to do Ritzon Hashem, first of all, it's a very big commitment. But it would really transform you into a completely total being. You become a very different person. Your outlook is going to become different. The way you look at things, when you're going to look at things, they're going to look different to you. When I see, for example, I look at Zaman. So I see Zaman. What do I say? I say Zaman. Hey, Zaman, what's up? If a person was on a higher level than I am, will see Zalman. He says, well, I don't see Zalman. I see lights. I see this. I see that, and so on and so forth. Right? When you want to do Ritzon Hashem, your whole perspective on things. Mountains are not just mountains. Animals are not just animals. Everything is a creation of God. You see God in everything that is out there. Everything is divine, even if it's an object, a rock, a table, whatever you have it. You see God everywhere. The reason why we behave the way we have is because we don't see God in anything. People, and our kids, and anything. And that's why we act like we act. We act like, I wouldn't say animals, like I don't know what. Like Dora Mabul. that's how we act. So the Mekubalim says that this is the mitziut of our generation, right? Of the last generation, and we need to understand we really need to understand that our good will be dependent on causing somebody else's good. We cannot be good by hurting someone else. It just can't be. That's what we need to understand. The tikkun is that we'll make the proper adjustments and we can all live together. But if you come to look at the state that we are at as people, as a nation, Jews, right? And how could we be talking about tikkun olam where we cannot live with one another? Somebody told me yesterday, he's a chassid guy. He says to me, come to me certain people, they say, they look down on me, and they give me a hard time because they say I look down on them. And I know the guy is so adel, he's such a gentle person. He could not, but it's just an opportunity for them to kind of give it. As long as we have this thing, I don't understand who are we fooling, or we think we're fooling. There's not going to be tikkun olam unless we're going to, first of all, recognize the validity of the other person. That is different than me, and that's okay. That's okay. And we are very, wrong about this. We are very insecure about those things. We don't want to accept anybody who is different than us. Maybe looks different, maybe talks different. We don't want to do that because we are very scared. We're very petrified. And why are we scared and petrified? Because we did not include God in our experience. If you include God in your experience, you understand that everybody has a room. Everybody has a legitimate, right to live and to exist the way they are. How many times are we, we say we want to be machzir, everybody b'tshuva, and how many times we rejected Baalei Tshuva? Oh yeah, say him alone, this guy's a Baal Tshuva. Why? I mean, you have a problem. You have a problem with him. But he said it was his choice to be born into this family. HaKadosh Baruch Hu put him there. If you have complaints about this guy being Baal Tshuva, go to God. How many times we reject the different? I mean, to a certain extent, we make certain progresses. For example, with people with disabilities, we became more tolerant, at least on the surface, than with people with disabilities. Because now it's like politically correct, but to a certain extent, we don't accept anybody that is different than us. And we take people with disabilities, we throw them out and put them in group homes and stuff like that. So that's how we can speak about Tikkun Olam when we haven't gotten there yet. We need to understand that the Tikkun starts with my acceptance of the other and understanding that his good is my good. I'm not even talking about the highest level of because God wants it to be like this. No, because on a very selfish reason. If I want it to be good for me, let it have good for him. It should be good for him as well. And this is something that Jews are known for. Jews are known for that war is not really the way of a Jew. That's why when even at the time when they had kings and so on and so forth, you don't just feel like going to a war or whatever. You have to have the permission of Sanhedrin. You have to do this. You have to do that. War is not a Jewish thing. War is not a Jewish mahalach. I mean, we can fight. If you fight with us, we can fight. But we don't go to war. Just leave us alone. Leave us in our own country. Leave us alone. We want to do our own thing. Worship our own God. Do our own thing. Leave me alone. I don't care what you do. Go do whatever you want. Don't stop. You stop with me. Listen, I'm going to... But war is not the Jewish way. It's not the way of Am Israel. However, you have to understand that peace is not what you think peace is. Peace is not when I appease you. I said peace, not appease. Peace is when I'm willing to accept you and you are willing to accept me. Do you think there's ever going to be peace in the Middle East? Never. Not with the Palestinians. Ever. They can go to Jordan. 75% of Jordan is Palestinian. Go to Jordan. Leave us alone. Just leave us alone. Give us a. We don't want Jordan. We don't want Syria. We don't want Lebanon. Just like us, give us our territory. You guys go over there. We stay over here. Goodbye. Good luck. Build the wall. We don't want it. It's not going to be. And the reason why we have this, for example, rioting in the Gaza border and them trying to run. One day they're going to just cut the fence. I mean, how many soldiers are going to put there? They're going to cut the fence and there's going to be 30, 40, 50,000 people running into Israel. And the reason why they're not willing to accept us and they are there all the time is because we, first of all, are not willing to accept one another. It's a lesson to us. When the Kadosh Baruch Hu hits you, don't look who hitting you. Look at why is he hitting you. Because we are not willing to accept one another. So, the Derech Israel, is not a way of war. We're not a people of hatred. There's never a mitzvah or anything in the Torah that tells us you have to hate someone. Our power is power of true unity. When Am Yisrael is really united, of ahava, of love, real love. That you feel it in the heart, which is the complete opposite of the egocentric will of our lives to, the way we live our life. The Jew wants to give, to have real, true hashpa'ah, influence, to give, to create a new reality. And again, many times we said it, look at how many hospital Jews are created here. Yes, one of the reasons they created all those Jewish hospitals, because Jews were blocked from entering as doctors, internship in hospitals. They couldn't work in hospitals. So the Jews said, you know what, you don't want it, fine, we're going to open our own hospitals. But look at all those hospitals that they do, the charity funds. Jews give to anything. Sometimes they give to the wrong thing, but they always give. Even parties that are, in this country that are completely against Israel, the biggest donors are Jews. They go to the Jews. They want money, they go to the Jews. They don't go to Italians. They don't go to, they go to the Jews. The Jews are the biggest donors. So that's because the Jew always wants to give. Life could be really, really good. And life could be really, really good only when we are all looking for the benefit of the other, not only for myself, but for the other. And everything that we go through in this world today, all the suffering and so on and so forth, because we are not willing or not able to get out to the real way of life from internal awakening. We're extremely superficial. We're extremely external. The hitorut, the awakening, has to be internal, spiritual, not external. Because the external makes me jealous, makes me feel like I'm missing something. Because if you have a big house and I have a small house, and this is how we live our life, just about the external, I'm jealous of you. And therefore I'm going to do whatever I can in my power for you not to have it or to hurt you or whatever. But when the itorut, the shefa, comes from spirituality, from inside, I want to be closer to you. If you have a lot, I want to be closer to you because my neshama needs it. That's why we can have, Jews that are dying for spirituality. They attach themselves to any kind of guru, muru, buru, regardless of how stupid is what they do, because they want that. Spirituality, abundance, make you connect to one another. And since we don't have this, there's hatred in the world, it's because there's no spirituality in the world. Not only among us Jews, we are a part of the big picture. Jews don't live on an island somewhere out in outer space. We live in this world. So it's a global phenomena of lack of spirituality anywhere. But it doesn't mean that we have to go along with it. We have to make this internally with us. The materialistic society that we live in, the industrial revolution and all this, consumer society we live in, reduce our spirituality because it always creates a sense of I'm lacking something. I want it. I need it. I want it. I need it. I want it. I need it. So you're never content. If you say, Baruch Hashem, I have, you're not going to buy anything. So the external has a influence on your internal as well, because you always want things, and now you can have it Amazon Prime. Like in one day. Before, guess what? I'm sure that Amazon. If they were smart. Let's say, for example, they have a store now in the city, right? Let's say they have a store in the city, so they know in the city, near the store, Dick, Tom, and Harry live around. So based on what they were buying from Amazon, and based on what they were looking on the internet, Amazon is going to make sure, let's say, for example, that they have it in the store. Now he walks in the store, he says, that's exactly what I wanted. Look at this. Right? They control you. They could control you. I don't know if they have it, but it's not a bad idea to have, right? Based on the people all around, they're going to make local stores based on what they buy. They're going to have it. They're going to stock the stores. If argument's sake, I'm looking for, let's say, Japanese gardening tools, and you're looking for that, and we live around, we're going to go to the store, we're going to find few Japanese gardening tools. But if all we look for is telephones, then we're not going to find Japanese gardening tools in the store. They're going to stock the stores based on our habits, based on where we live. So it's always going to feel a need. And then we're going to buy them and need them to buy it. And that becomes all external. And nobody will teach you about those things. Nobody will talk to you about those things. Because we all guilt in this crime because we were not really able to undress ourselves from this need all the time of we want. Because, one second, he has, I want more than him. If I had driving a pickup truck, I was very happy with my pickup truck. Very happy. It's a great pickup truck, right? And now Eitan is driving, what are you driving? Let's say
Porsche.
Porsche is like a Beetle, an upgraded Beetle. It's like a celebration of Hitler. And I don't ever buy those cars. It's basically a Beetle with a center engine. With a let's say for example you drive a BMW M5 series, right? So let's say we are going to this thing. So guess what? Regardless of how happy I am with my pickup truck, I'm going to drop it. I'm going to buy a Mercedes, 12-cylinder. Not that it makes any difference to me. I mean, I'm going here like 2.25 miles. But then we start competing, and we can never communicate with each other. We can never bridge the gaps between us. That's why when you learn Torah, we're all equal. And that's why Chachamim tells us, because the people who are poor, that's where the Torah is going to come from. And then you're going to sit down and learn from them. You could be a big macher, a big shot, guy, and you can have a guy that have had absolutely nothing, and you don't know and he knows, and he's going to give you shir, or he's going to be your Rebbe, you're going to be his Talmud. That's Torah. And then on Torah, we all come together. In Torah, we strips ourselves from the Yetzirah. We leave it outside the door. Here we all equal. There's no Sfardim, there's no Ashkenazim, there's no Hasidim, there's no Mitnagdim, there's no this, there's no that. We're all Jews learning Torah. So, but you have to understand, since we don't understand that, we need to reach the target. So you don't want to go there willingly, so we're going to go through suffer. I'm going to pull you from the ear to get to this way of life. And the Mekubalim told us that there is a great possibility the world will be destroyed in a third world. And those very few that is going to remain after that will have to understand that there's no way around it. We have to live according to V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. You don't want to understand it now. You'll understand it the other way because, but the question is why we have to wait to such a horrible scenario? Why do we have to wait for that? People are so dumb. They think life is like a Hollywood movie. It's going to end. It's going to be like, going to be good. Then you're going to walk out regardless of how horrible the movie was. You're going to go out. You're going to go into your car. You're going to go into your house, have a glass of wine, and so on and so forth. Eat some melted cheese, I love cheese with wine. Can I have that though? I love cheese with wine. Like nice gooey camembert or brie with nice red wine. Put some jazz in the background. People say, "Oh, let's have go war! We like this." We don't have to have it. There is the prophecy, but it doesn't have to happen that way. We can execute the prophecy in a different way. But if you're not going to understand it by yourself, let's say, for example, there are going to be 120 nations coming to Israel, to a war, whatever it is, coming to Israel. Oh, well, we can have like a peace unit and world unit and invite 120 heads of state and we can all sing Kumbaya together. Or we can have a war. Now, which one do you want? But you need to understand that. That's what's going to be in the end. You cannot avoid the end. You can choose the way. The world will have to come to a unifying way of life. Now, how it's going to happen, that's up to you. So all the suffering in the world today, including tsunamis and all these things, is a result of our doing. And that's why, we suffer the way we do. Let's just go quickly. Oh, this is very long. Let's go quickly on to Noach. Noach was commanded to build the teva, the ark, and he had to make a tzohar in it. And Rashi explains that those say that tzohar is a chalon, is a window, and those believe that tzohar zo even tova shayta meira. It was like a stone that was lighting the teva. Almost like the Viking stone, they had the sunstone that could tell the sun. I guess some kind of a stone that was like illuminating the whole entire Tevano, the LEDs gem they had there, or something like that. There's many hints in the word Soah. We said yesterday is a retzeh, you have to want, and so on and so forth. But we need to also take in mind that the opinions are very split among, what was the character, the true character of Noach altogether. And some say it was tzaddik he was a righteous man for his generation. Some say it was really even, if he was in the generation of Ram, he was more tzaddik, and so on and so forth, because he had somebody to learn. However, we need to understand that you can't really look at bad things that happen. And that's why we said Tzohar is a Even Yekarat. Tzohar is a precious stone. Because the first limud from Tzohar needs to come from the hitbonenut of each and every one of us according to your level. In other words, you cannot interpret things, as we said to you before, on a level that is you're not there. Everybody needs to understand where he's at and then look at things according to where he's at. And that is where you are standing. Before you're going to turn around to look at other people, look at where you're standing. And that's Noach bedorotav. Noach was tzaddik, Noach this, Noach this. Where Noach is standing. Right now, is it tzaddik, is it tzaddik? מה happened? bedorotav, לא bedorotav, זה לא מעניין אותי. Look at things the way it is. The way it's illuminating to you. To you. And we says that Tzohar is otiyot retzeh, and that will hint for the ratzon, to the will of man. And the will of man you should have a will, and you have a will, but that has to be playing second violin to the will of God. First thing and the most thing is the will of God. And the ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu is called ratzon haratzonot, ra'ava de ra'avin, the wills of wills. And that is that's what we have to be concerned with. And we know that Midat HaRachamim is really revealed itself in its full capacity in special times, like for example on Shabbat. And when dafka on Shabbat, dafka in Shat HaMincha, which is Shat HaDin. In Shat HaDin mitgale Retzon HaRetzonot, the will of all wills. And that's what Noach needed in the time of the Mabul, is the revelation of Rachamim, the highest level, dafka at the time of the ultimate din, of the flood, the ultimate din. And the din was done with water, which is also Rachamim, and without getting to the two, drops from coming down from above and so on and so forth. But the hint for that was, you should always, and where was the window? The window of the Teva was up, was not on the sides. Don't look to the sides, always look up. The light that would come to illuminate your house, yourself, and so on and so forth, the reflection point should always be from above, not from what the people around you are saying or people around you are doing. If we talked about yesterday about the Teva being an example of yourself or your house and so on and so forth, always towards what is done on Shamayim, not to fashion, not to style, and not to anything of that. The Rav Shalom Mibel says that Tzor v'Teva together is Gematria Shabbat. And the Mekubalim says that these are, we have still time there. The Mekubalim says that these are the vessels on Shabbat. Shabbat nikret Shabbat Malketa. Shabbat Malketa. In other words, this is called the Sfira of Malchut, the attributes of Malchut. And it comes that Shabbat is the lowest of all the Sferot of the week, because Malchut is the last Sfera, right? We have the 7 Sferot of Ze'er Anpin, and Malchut is the last one. So how is it possible that the last one is going to be Shabbat? It should be the top one, Shabbat, right? So the Hakam is the last one. However, Shabbat is also the Keter. That's why we say in Musaf of Shabbat, we say Keter, because it's the revelation of the crown, the revelation of the will of all wills. In spirituality, we know that there is a reverse ratio between vessels and lights. The last vessel, the lowest vessel, reveals the highest light, because it comes from above and then it shines through that. And from the vessel point of view, Shabbat is the Malchut, which is the lowest one, and from the light aspect of it, Shabbat is the Keter. That's why Keter and Malchut, they go in one line. Don't forget the other Sfera that goes in the middle is Tiferet, which is the balance of all things. So so you see from it, there's so many things you can see from it. In order to really reveal the uppermost higher light, you need to first of all make sure you're balanced between the two sides. By the way, you know that if you take an embryo, a cell, fertile cell, and you send it to space, because of lack of gravity in space, you would not be able to create one thing, and that's the spine. The spine, in creation of the spine on the embryo, allows you to develop the two sides. If you don't have gravity to pull you down, you would not have two sides. That's why you have to have gravity. So if you think you're going to travel in space and have babies there, it's impossible. You're going to have some deformed, defective things. They're not going to be babies. They're not going to have a spine. They're not going to be divided into half and half. By the way, also, you should know that the internal organs of a pig are almost identical to a human. Also, to remind you, you could be a malach, you could be like a pig. This is all from that. So on Shabbat, that's why on Shabbat the crown is being revealed, because the light came all the way down to Sfera Malchut, and from that, the Malchut, crownship, is revealing the Keter. Tzohar v'Teva, Tzohar and Teva beyachad is Shabbat. Tzohar is the light, and the Teva, b'ktiv chaser, when we take the Yud out, that's Otiot, what? Habat, right? And that's B'chinat Habat, the girl. And that's the B'china of Malchut, which is the B'china of the Kli. That's the Teva. Teva is the vessel, the Tzor is the light. Therefore it says, a person who saves Shabbat can be saved from Gog uMagog, and saved from the Mabul, and from all other things. But what is one of the things that we need to do to save the world, basically, is to be able to bring the light of Shabbat in. In other words, in the Teva, in home. Now, you might understand why I tell you guys, when those of you get married, stay home, don't go out. You have to bring the light of Shabbat inside the Teva, inside your home. Shabbat, when we say, what do we say on Shabbat? You say, how do we bless Shabbat? No, what do we say? We say one another. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat of peace. Shabbat of harmony. What we say? Shabbat Alechem. I don't know. Shabbat Shalom. Because good Shabbos, it's a good. You see, good Shabbos. If you think about it this way. The reason why they say Good Shabbos, or in Israel they say Shabbat Tava, is because you're not supposed to greet a person before you greet Hashem. So you use that thing. But the proper blessing of Shabbat Shalom is much better and much greater. You miss out when you say Good Shabbos. In other words, you're saying Shabbat Tova, but you're missing out the Shalom part of it. Shabbat Shalom is a higher level. That's the true bracha for Shabbat. Should be Shabbat Shalom, not Good Shabbos. Should be Shabbat Shalom. And because outside in the world there's a mabul, there's a churban, there is a destruction, right? And inside your house there should be Shalom, peace, harmony, and there should be Shabbat. There should be the light come in. From the Teva you can go out to the new reality of the world. Which are new toladot that create a new reality. So therefore you keep Shabbat, you'll be more aware of what needs to be done in the world. You can live with one another and so on and so forth. And that opportunity is being revealed all the time on Shabbat. So that's why a person who doesn't keep Shabbat, he does whatever he wants, but he is not taking part in fixing the world. When that's what you can understand now, that we say Olam Shekulo Shabbat. By the way, we're gonna be sitting down all day long eating chulet, and for the rest of the life eating chulet and brisket now, no, Shabbat, the concept of Shabbat, the whole entire world will become a vessel to receive the light in harmony. And this is a small example of how things should be done when you keep Shabbat. That's why you're not supposed to do all these things on Shabbat and walk a certain way and talk a certain way and do certain things on Shabbat. It's just for that harmony. That's why he said don't get angry on Shabbat, and so on and so forth. All these examples for Tikkun Olam exist on Shabbat. You just need to understand what they are. And you don't understand what they are because you never talk about this. For you, keeping Shabbat is just a technical matter. It's not a spiritual aspect. And I'm trying to reveal to you the spiritual aspect of keeping Shabbat. That's why Mishalot Tarach Be'erev Shabbat Lo Yochal Be'Shabbat. You have to work hard on it. You have to work hard in order to reach that level of Shabbat Shalom, of peace and Shabbat. Of harmony on Shabbat. And all right, let's stop here. All right, so guys, Shabbat Shalom. We'll talk about Noach and the rest of the stuff, Be'ezrat Hashem, next week, because I have a lot and it's like way too long. And I have more and more and more. Anyway, so you should have a Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat of harmony, Shabbat of peace. And you should be saved from the flood outside, standing the gates like little Hans Christian Andersen with a finger in the thing. And that's really what it is. That's really what it is, you know. And how we're going to do so? First of all, you need to respect yourself. You need to respect yourself to understand really who you are and what you're about, and understand your mission. After you do that, we have to understand that we need to develop that sense of responsibility towards the other. I told you many times, try to read this book by Peter Blabber, The Mission, the Men, and Me, and then apply it to Judaism. Shabbat Shalom.